Sales and marketing begins with this word, distinction. It doesn't matter whether you're selling professional services or a consumable item. This is a derivative of the concept of the unique selling proposition or the unique value proposition. From the AMC hit series Mad Men, the main character, Don Draper, was based on a real Madison Avenue advertising executive. His name was Rosser Reeves. And Reeves coined the phrase, the unique selling proposition, or the USP, back in the 1960s. He felt that the products that they were advertising on commercials shouldn't be sold based on the merits of the copy that was written for it, but on the unique attributes of that product. And that's what he always tried to show in his advertisements. When you're recruiting, you're doing both marketing and sales. Marketing, meaning that your firm tries to create a brand that gives you a reputation that precedes you. And sales is when you talk intelligently about your firm in a compelling way when you're engaged in one-on-one interviews. And during these interviews, you say something beyond the predictable items, such as, we have great culture and we're collaborative. If there is any point of improvement that would give you the greatest return, this is it, the discussion points of your firm in terms of its distinction during these interviews. Now, if you're involved in recruiting for your law firm, I'm making an assumption that this makes sense to you. You've seen firsthand how some candidates light up when a certain attribute of a firm is mentioned, and you know that beyond all the other reasons, this attribute is what's causing that deal to close. You've seen it happen. I'm also making an assumption that the candidate that is considering your firm, they're spending a lot of time with the partners and with the leadership. So those people who are involved in hiring, they need to understand this message. I might suggest forwarding the short course to them and brainstorm specific ways on how you can integrate this into your standard operating procedures. So there are 3 points of distinction that we need to assess and implement into your process. First, identify the points of distinction. Answer this question. And to do so, you can't use the word collaborative or culture. Maybe someday I'll create a lateral recruiting drinking game. Every time you hear the word culture, well, never mind, but you get the point. The point is that everybody's collaborative. Every law firm has great culture. We've got great culture. It's amazing. Yes, you do, but you need something that's distinct. Perhaps that candidate's firm has great culture as well. Culture is going to keep people in a firm, but it might not have the pull to get them to join. They won't be believers anyways until they've been there for 6 months. So find other reasons why they're going to join your firm. Here's how you do it. Answer this question. What can our firm say that no other law firm can say about themselves? Here are some arguments I've heard before that have won the hearts of prospective laterals. We earn awards for our innovation, and they can cite the source. We have deep connections politically, and they can cite their names. We have great retention among our associates, or share a percentage of the top law schools of associates that join our firm, or the number of former Supreme Court clerks that join our firm, and they show the data. They have a unique model of compensating partners. Every law firm compensates people differently. Yours is probably distinct. Or perhaps you have staff. How many people are involved in marketing? Do you have any non-practicing attorneys that pick up the pieces and get involved in being the point of accountability to make sure things get done? I've even heard some firms that hire coaches, even as staff, to coach partners on leadership issues or even sales opportunities. Some firms will have the equivalent of a chief sales officer, not marketing, but sales, that helps pinpoint trends which precede business opportunities. Or they might have key programs like Leopard Solutions, which can help give them a competitive edge in terms of intelligence, which leads to business opportunities. Other firms have talked about their process of integration. They'll show them the checklist. Here's the checklist that we use. Maybe there's a unique attribute that can help that candidate get excited about your firm in that regard. So start with answering that question. What can we say about our firm that is truly unique, that no other firm can say about them? And here's the second question you need to answer, not to the prospective partner necessarily directly, but amongst yourselves in your brainstorming session. This is it. How will this distinct attribute of our firm benefit this prospective partner on a personal and an emotional level? Think about this. This goes right to the heart of why people make decisions. If you can get to that issue, find out why they're going to choose A or B, and you use game theory to get an edge, then you have an advantage. And remember that an edge, no matter how slight, that's what you need to win the competitive game of lateral recruiting. When I say emotional, I'm not talking about how they're going to break out in tears during the interview in front of you. It doesn't have to be so obvious that there's an emotional response by the prospect. But remember that people only do what's in their own best interest, and usually there's the context of emotion that accompanies this decision. You can have a list of pros and cons between two opportunities. No matter how logically sound option A is, if it doesn't strike a chord emotionally, like option B does, then people will probably choose option B. Further, there may be other concerns this candidate has about your firm. Maybe your firm has a reputation, well, it's just not as fancy as all the others. Maybe the rankings and chambers aren't there. Maybe you took a dip a few years ago in your profits per partner, and you had to make some internal changes, and wow, you recovered nicely. But you know what? People don't forget those press releases that they read 3 years ago, and all those other bad things that happened in the past. So you need to beef up the emotional context of how your firm is attractive to prospective laterals. How will this attribute impact this particular prospect on a personal and emotional level? Some firms will even have internal sales coaches that free up the partner because someone else is driving that to-do list and can give that partner peace of mind. Those are other examples. Knowing that the details are handled by somebody else. Well, how's that going to give a personal and an emotional benefit? It's going to free their mind up. It's going to expose new opportunities for revenue, so the partner can breathe easy about integration and get excited about leveraging the decision to join your firm. When you have a point-by-point analysis of each talking point, and you've flowed this logic out to create a compelling and authentic argument, and you've rehearsed it, and you've practiced it, and you've used it many times, it will flow naturally and it becomes much more believable and effective. This is the homework that most firms aren't either willing to do or they just haven't thought of. So they revert back to the easy choices of great culture and collegial and collaborative. It's so vanilla. It lacks excitement. My final tip, get the colleagues that are involved in learning how to sell these attributes, all the partners that are involved in your process. Perhaps draft a memo or create a short video that you can share with your partners. Something along the lines of reasons why people join our firm. Give them the top 5 points based on your research. It's why those people in the last 2 years, most of them joined our firm because of these reasons. Train those partners involved in the process how to sell your firm. Train them on how to interview. So they're adding to and not detracting from the opportunity. I've seen it happen. Some firms actually diminish the potency of the opportunity because they've not been trained on how to interview candidates. I know they're the smartest people in the world. I know they're all very fancy, but they still need your help in how to sell your firm. And if you can do that, then you've also become even more distinct in your effectiveness in lateral recruiting.